Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales that we're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. I'll never forget the day I realized my marriage was built on a foundation of lies. It wasn't some dramatic confrontation or unexpected discovery. No, it was in the subtle way Victoria's eyes darted to her phone every few minutes during our family dinners. The way her perfectly manicured fingers trembled slightly when typing messages she thought I couldn't see. As a successful architect, I've always prided myself on noticing details others miss. But nothing could have prepared me for the intricate web of deception my wife had woven around our life. Victoria, with her striking auburn hair and calculated charm, had mastered the art of appearances. Our penthouse apartment overlooking Central Park seemed like the epitome of success. Her high-powered marketing career, my thriving architecture firm, the endless social invitations that filled our calendar. Yet beneath this polished surface lay a truth so devastating it would unravel everything we'd built together. The first crack in Victoria's perfect facade appeared during one of her frequent business trips. While reviewing security footage from our building's lobby, something I'd started doing after noticing irregularities in her schedule, I spotted her leaving late at night with Marcus Chun, her company's charismatic creative director. The way they stood close together, their body language speaking volumes of intimacy, sent a cold shiver down my spine despite the warm spring evening. What made this betrayal particularly insidious was how meticulously Victoria had planned it. She'd convinced me to invest in an expensive smartwatch last Christmas, claiming it would help monitor my health. Little did I know, she'd used the device to track my movements while she orchestrated her affair right under my nose. The irony wasn't lost on me. The very technology meant to bring us closer had become her tool for deception. As I pieced together the evidence, hotel receipts cleverly hidden in her work expenses, coded messages disguised as professional correspondence, and countless late-night absences explained away as client emergencies, a plan began forming in my mind. This wouldn't be a simple confrontation. Victoria had played her part too well, manipulating not just me, but our entire social circle with her carefully crafted narrative of ambition and success. No, this required something far more elaborate. A symphony of retribution that would expose every lie she'd told and dismantle the empire of deceit she'd constructed. Looking back, the signs were there from the beginning, though I was too blinded by love and ambition to see them clearly. Victoria's rise through the ranks of Chun and Associates seemed meteoric. Yet when I examined her trajectory through the lens of suspicion, patterns emerged that painted a disturbing picture. Her sudden interest in weekend seminars at luxury resorts coincided precisely with Marcus Chen's business development schedule. The professional development courses she claimed would advance her career turned out to be intimate gatherings at secluded mountain retreats, accessible only by private helicopter, hardly standard corporate training venues. Our daily routines became a masterclass in misdirection. Each morning, Victoria would leave for work at precisely 7:15 a.m., her designer briefcase, containing not just presentation materials, but also lingerie purchased from boutiques I'd never heard of. During lunch hours, she'd send me sweet texts about missing me, while her actual location showed up on her fitness tracker at a members-only club downtown. The evenings were even more calculated. Dinner reservations at trendy restaurants followed by what she called networking events, though her credit card statements revealed charges for rooms at nearby hotels. Their affair operated with military precision. Marcus would arrive at these events 30 minutes after Victoria, ensuring they were never seen entering together. They communicated through encrypted messaging apps, using code words that sounded innocuous to anyone who might overhear. Discussing the new campaign strategy translated to meeting at the rooftop bar of the Peninsula Hotel, while reviewing quarterly projections meant spending the night at his Pied à Terre in Tribeca. The most painful aspect was how Victoria maintained her facade of devotion. She continued to wear the diamond bracelet I'd given her for our 5th anniversary, letting it catch the light during board meetings while Marcus watched from across the conference table. At charity galas, she'd introduce me with pride to her colleagues, all while planning her next rendezvous with Marcus in whispered conversations behind marble columns. Even our intimate moments became tainted by her duplicity. The passion she displayed was often fueled by guilt rather than genuine affection. Her manipulation extended beyond our relationship into our social circle. Victoria had cultivated friendships with other executives' wives, positioning herself as the perfect corporate spouse while secretly gathering intelligence about their husbands' schedules. These women, unaware of her true intentions, provided alibis for her absences and praised her dedication to both her career and marriage. Meanwhile, Marcus had become adept at deflecting his wife Eleanor's suspicions, painting Victoria as merely an ambitious colleague who occasionally needed mentorship. The depth of their conspiracy became apparent when I discovered their shared cloud storage folder, cleverly disguised as marketing collateral. Within it lay a treasure trove of incriminating evidence, detailed itineraries of their trysts, photographs documenting their romantic getaways, and even a spreadsheet tracking potential risks to their affair. Most damning were the voice memos where they discussed strategies for advancing both their careers through their illicit partnership, treating their relationship like a business merger rather than an emotional connection. What struck me most was how methodically they had planned everything, from which events to attend together without raising suspicion to how they would handle any potential exposure. They had created an entire alternate reality where their affair was justified as a necessary step for professional advancement, rationalizing their betrayal with corporate jargon and strategic objectives. Victoria had transformed our marriage into a carefully choreographed performance, where every gesture of affection was calculated, every display of commitment meticulously staged. As I sat in my home office that night, surrounded by blueprints of projects I'd poured my soul into, a plan began crystallizing in my mind, one that would mirror the complexity of my architectural designs. Victoria thought she was playing chess while everyone else moved like pawns, but she had underestimated the power of patience and precise calculation. My revenge would be a masterpiece of engineering, constructed with the same meticulous attention to detail that had earned me awards in my profession. The foundation of my strategy rested on three pillars: exposure, isolation, and redemption. First, I needed to gather irrefutable evidence while maintaining plausible deniability. Through a trusted contact in cybersecurity, I enhanced Victoria's smart devices to capture every interaction, every secret meeting, every compromising moment. The data streamed into a secure server, building a digital dossier that would serve as the structural framework of my revenge. Next, I identified the key players in Victoria's web of deception and began subtly influencing their perceptions. Her closest confidant, Rachel, harbored unspoken resentment toward Victoria's meteoric rise. A carefully orchestrated series of revelations through anonymous tips and strategically placed information began eroding their friendship. Meanwhile, I cultivated a professional relationship with Marcus's wife Eleanor, sharing just enough information to plant seeds of doubt without revealing my hand. The most crucial element was timing. Each phase of my plan needed to unfold with architectural precision. I created a timeline that mirrored the construction schedules I used for skyscrapers. Phase 1 involved gathering materials, evidence. Phase 2 focused on laying groundwork, planning doubts. And Phase 3 would be the grand unveiling. Like a building designed to withstand earthquakes, my revenge needed to adapt to unexpected variables while maintaining its core integrity. To execute this complex design, I leveraged my professional network. Contacts and event planning helped me organize gatherings where crucial confrontations could occur naturally. Friends and media ensured that when the truth emerged, it would reach the right ears at the optimal moment. Every conversation, every social engagement became a carefully calculated move in this high-stakes game of psychological architecture. The emotional toll of this preparation was immense. Nights spent poring over Victoria's betrayals left me questioning everything about human nature and relationships. Yet each piece of evidence strengthened my resolve, much like how stress tests reinforce a building's structure. I documented everything, not just to build my case, but to process the pain of betrayal. These records became my blueprint for healing, each entry a step toward reclaiming my dignity and self-respect. Most importantly, I understood that true revenge wasn't about destruction but transformation. Just as I designed buildings to enhance their surroundings, my plan aimed to reshape the landscape of our lives. Victoria had tried to construct a false reality. I would rebuild it on foundations of truth and accountability. The satisfaction came not from watching her fall, but from knowing that justice, like a well-designed structure, would stand the test of time. The night of reckoning arrived with the precision of a perfectly timed architectural reveal. I had invited our closest friends and professional associates to what appeared to be a celebration of Victoria's latest career milestone, a prestigious industry award that, ironically, Marcus had nominated her for as part of their elaborate charade. The penthouse buzzed with anticipation, crystal glasses clinking against the backdrop of Manhattan's glittering skyline, while Victoria moved through the crowd like a queen surveying her court. When the clock struck 9, I stepped onto the balcony where Victoria stood admiring the city lights. "Darling," I said, handing her a glass of champagne, "there's something I need to show you." Her smile faltered for just a moment before she masked it with practiced ease. Leading her to the media room, I activated the presentation I'd been constructing for months, a digital reconstruction of her betrayal, frame by damning frame. The room fell silent as surveillance footage played across multiple screens. Victoria and Marcus entering hotels through separate entrances, intimate moments captured by security cameras they thought were inactive, text messages decoded and displayed in stark clarity. Gasps rippled through the crowd as they witnessed Victoria's carefully maintained facade crumble before their eyes. Rachel's face contorted with betrayal, while Eleanor's expression hardened into steely resolve. "You knew," Victoria whispered, her voice trembling. "All this time you knew?" I nodded, watching as realization dawned across her features. But why wait? Why let this continue? Her question hung in the air like smoke from the extinguished candles on her celebration cake. "Because true justice isn't about immediate gratification," I replied. "It's about creating a structure that can withstand scrutiny, one that reveals the truth in layers, like peeling back the walls of a building to expose its compromised foundation." The emotional fallout was immediate and devastating. Colleagues who had envied Victoria's success now regarded her with pity and disdain. Business partners discreetly excused themselves, already calculating the damage to their own reputations. Marcus attempted to intervene, but Eleanor's presence, her arms crossed, face set in grim determination, silenced any defense he might have offered. The social currency Victoria had accumulated through years of careful manipulation evaporated in an instant. Yet the most profound impact was personal. As Victoria faced the collective judgment of those she had deceived, I saw something break within her, not just her carefully constructed persona, but the core belief that she could control every aspect of her reality. The woman who had once commanded boardrooms now struggled to maintain composure in front of former admirers. Her hands shook as she tried to explain, to justify, to salvage what remained of her dignity. In that moment, surrounded by the ruins of her deception, Victoria finally understood the true cost of her choices. The affair had been about more than just physical betrayal. It had been a systematic dismantling of trust, a calculated erosion of our shared life. And now, like a condemned building imploding from within, everything she had worked so hard to construct was collapsing in spectacular fashion. In the weeks following Victoria's public unraveling, I found myself standing on the balcony of our penthouse, watching the city wake up to another day. The space felt different now, lighter, as if the weight of secrets had physically pressed down on the glass and steel. What surprised me most was how the experience had transformed not just my circumstances, but my understanding of relationships and trust. The revenge, meticulously planned and executed, had served its purpose, but it was the aftermath that truly changed me. Initially, I had believed that exposing Victoria's betrayal would provide closure, a clean break from a toxic chapter. Instead, I discovered that true healing required more than just justice. The process of documenting every lie, every calculated manipulation, forced me to confront uncomfortable truths about my own role in our marriage. Had I been so focused on building our external success that I had neglected the foundation of genuine connection? Had I, in my own way, contributed to the environment that allowed such elaborate deception to flourish? The emotional journey proved more complex than I had anticipated. Anger gave way to sorrow, then to a profound sense of liberation. Watching Victoria face the consequences of her actions didn't fill me with satisfaction as I had expected. Instead, it evoked compassion for the person she had become in pursuit of professional validation. Her desperate attempts to maintain control had ultimately cost her everything she valued: her career, her reputation, her dignity. This realization led to perhaps the most unexpected outcome: personal growth. The experience taught me to recognize the difference between authentic ambition and destructive obsession. In rebuilding my life, I found myself drawn to more meaningful connections, both professionally and personally. The architectural projects I took on reflected this shift, moving from corporate skyscrapers to community spaces that fostered genuine human interaction. Victoria's downfall served as a cautionary tale, not just about infidelity, but about the dangers of living a compartmentalized life. Her attempt to maintain separate identities, devoted wife, ambitious executive, secret lover, had created fractures that eventually consumed her entire existence. For me, the lesson lay in embracing vulnerability rather than viewing it as weakness. True strength, I learned, comes from aligning one's public and private selves, from building relationships on foundations of transparency rather than illusion. As I watched the sunrise paint the city in gold, I understood that revenge, while cathartic, was merely a stepping stone. The real triumph lay in emerging from the experience with a deeper understanding of human nature, with renewed purpose, and with the courage to create a life based on authenticity rather than appearances. The city below bustled with its usual energy, oblivious to the personal revolution that had taken place above it. Yet for me, everything had changed, not through destruction, but through reconstruction.